Swish! The blood-red domain, glowing with bloodlight, was eerie and strange. A chilling, suffocating aura spread from the place, accompanied by a blood-red wind that howled ominously. In the serpent-scorpion blood domain, countless dark powers flickered around serpent-scorpion Xue'er. 10 blood serpents coiled around her head, and around her, wicked, menacing blood serpents surrounded the Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Xue'er tightly. This is troublesome. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor furrowed his brow as he looked at the terrifying setup of serpent-scorpion Xue'er and saw that Xiao was restrained. Senior, could you delay for a little longer? At that moment, Xue'er, following Xiao direction, saw the fire-like spiritual energy around Xiao body twitching. He immediately understood Xiao intention. He was condensing the Buddha's fury reincarnation, but merging the 5 sacred flames would take quite a bit of time. What's going on? The Supreme Heavenly Emperor also vaguely sensed a terrifying aura from Xiao body and spoke up. Give me the key, old man. With a cold grunt, Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er extended her delicate hand, completely ignoring the two of them. A blood serpent opened its massive mouth and lunged toward them. Crack! In a moment of distraction, the jade key to open the Holy Land was snatched away. TSK. So this is the only key to enter the Holy Land? As soon as the jade stone was in her grasp, Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er flashed a sly grin and spoke teasingly. Give it back. Prison wall of wind. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor roared suddenly, his blue do chi transforming into a furious wind, shooting towards Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er with immense force. The pressure it carried was oppressive. Clearly, even if the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's strength was barely intact, the might of an 8-star do xian in the late stage was still formidable. Go! Seeing the Supreme Heavenly Emperor fight desperately, Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er's blood serpent surged forward, crashing into his blue hurricane. Boom! The screeching clash of energies struck the eardrums of everyone present, causing Xiao, who was brewing the 5-color Buddha's fury reincarnation, to be momentarily silenced. Next, watch me. It's almost ready. Xiao sat quietly on the ground, undisturbed by the surrounding blood serpents. The strange fluctuations in his body went unnoticed by them, for the fusion was taking place in the Do Chi Sea. Looking around, the Do Chi Sea was now empty. Aside from the high-speed rotation of the firewood dual Do cores, 5 differently colored flames were slowly flickering, gradually merging. Once fully combined, the terrifying power of the 5-color Buddha's fury reincarnation would be enough to make even Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er truly fearful. Whoosh! A pleasant sound of energy surged down from the sky, and without hesitation, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's blue do chi surged out as he leapt towards Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er in a fierce attack. Are you all right? Taking advantage of the battle in the sky, Xue'er easily reached Xiao side and asked, I'm fine. Xiao nodded lightly, giving a faint smile. An amber-colored flame like a blazing sun slowly began to spread from his body. What's this? As the amber flame fox rose within Xiao, a rare tremor filled the blood prison. Even the Supreme Heavenly Emperor, fighting Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er, couldn't help but mutter in surprise. Such a terrifying sacred flame? In my memory, no sacred flame has ever emitted such vast energy. Serpent-Scorpion Xue'er also raised her eyebrows, exclaiming in shock. Crack! In a flash, the evil blood serpent chains on Xiao shattered easily, and he regained his freedom. Above his head, 5 colored flames swirled slowly, having completed their fusion. 5 petals of different colors, each exuding an ancient and divine aura, hovered above him. The 5-color flame lotus gently trembled, and on each petal, fire foxes of different properties shot out in all directions, as if something earth-shattering was about to descend into this blood prison. This guy. It's been so long. His power is becoming more and more terrifying. Seeing Xiao awe-inspiring display, Xue'er couldn't help but smile bitterly. Creak. With a soft sound, the 5-color flames easily protected Xiao, Xue'er, and the Supreme Heavenly Emperor. A world-destroying beam of light grew increasingly intense. Senior, just a little more. At this moment, Gu Yuan looked at the swirling soul sea within Xiao Yan's body and immediately understood. The five-color Buddha's fury reincarnation was nearly complete, but it still required the soul force and the flame mantra to lock onto the target. It was only a matter of time. We cannot let him unleash this attack. If he does, this place will be obliterated. At this moment, there was a trace of wariness in Scorpion Xue'er's beautiful eyes as she spoke coldly. From the five-color flame lotus, she could feel an extreme sense of threat. There's still me. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor nodded fiercely upon seeing this. His entire body surged with Do Qi, which howled as it spiraled outward, temporarily entangling Scorpion Xue'er. You old, undying bastard. Scorpion Xue'er felt the pressure increase, but she didn't dare underestimate the Supreme Heavenly Emperor. She could only deal with the situation as best she could. With the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's help, Xiao Yan took the final step, his soul power roiling as he completely locked onto Scorpion Xue'er's body. The addition of the flame mantra stabilized the five-color Buddha's fury reincarnation. Try this. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Yan's eyes turned blood red, veins bulging as the five-colored flames above his head easily gathered in his hand. The five-color fire lotus expanded violently, and then its petals suddenly shattered one by one. A sacred aura emerged, radiating with the power to purify and burn away countless evils from the blood prison, descending like a divine force. This brat. Feeling the scalp-tingling sacred flame, 10 blood snakes appeared atop Scorpion Xue'er's head. Their red, venomous eyes locked onto the rapidly approaching five-color fire lotus. An unprecedented feeling of suppression enveloped her delicate body. The five-color fire lotus, upon flying, had its 5 differently colored petals vanish, revealing the pure and flawless five-color fire lotus at its core, a force beyond words. Scorpion Xue'er. Xiao Yan shouted again. His immense soul power surged out, enveloping the fire lotus. Its speed skyrocketed as it shot towards Scorpion Xue'er, who was attempting to flee. Scorpion body. 10,000 serpents poison. Power of 10 serpents. In that moment, Scorpion Xue'er, having escaped some distance, realized it was futile. She had already been locked on, and no matter where she fled, she would be pursued. With a cold grunt, a shadowy, bloodthirsty aura emerged as she unleashed everything she had learned in life. Boom, boom, boom. Poof! In the blood prison, the mountains and rivers collapsed, the void writhed. Explosions rang out like the anger of the heavens, sweeping through the entire blood prison. The eerie blood prison, now filled with countless blood serpents, transformed into a true hell. But as Xiao Yan's five-color flame and Scorpion Xue'er's attacks collided, the entire blood prison turned into a fiery battleground. The space was riddled with cracks, as if ravaged by a fierce battle. The deafening explosions covered the entire blood prison. The previously evil void suddenly dimmed. Hot fire foxes, exuding a destructive aura, spilled out in every direction, and massive rifts in the void slowly spread, as if the apocalypse had come. What terrifying power! Even with Xiao Yan's protection, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Gu Yuan, standing behind him, couldn't help but murmur in awe. At this level of attack, not only would Scorpion Xue'er be in trouble, but even the Supreme Heavenly Emperor, of equal strength, would find it incredibly difficult to deal with. He couldn't help but marvel at Xiao Yan's hidden strength. Boom, boom, boom. The five-color Buddha's fury reincarnation exploded, like a volcanic eruption venting its fury. Countless holy auras surged out with blazing flames, defeating the once mighty Scorpion Xue'er. Good, good, good. You little bastard. Before the explosion's echoes faded, a furious scream rang out, filled with chilling murderous intent. Scorpion Xue'er couldn't believe it. How could a mere human kid at the late 7-star Do Xian level unleash such a terrifying attack? If it weren't for her extraordinary skills, she might have been killed just now. But even so, the murderous intent in her heart was overwhelming. Her body was battered and bruised, with blood streaks appearing on her pale red skin. 6 of the blood snakes on her head had already perished. She wished she could tear Xiao into 1,000 pieces. Looks like it's still not enough, Xiao said with a wry smile, listening to Serpent Scorpion Xue'er's enraged roar coming from the explosion's epicenter. His current strength was only at the late 7-star Do Xian level. If he had reached perfection, he would have had a greater chance of defeating Serpent Scorpion Xue'er. If he had broken through to 8-star Do Xian, that single blow would have been enough to destroy her. But unfortunately, it seems there's a bit of after effect. Xiao muttered, his gaze fixed on the center of the explosion. A dizzying sensation soon washed over him, and he couldn't help but furrow his brow. This time, he had fused 5 sacred flames, but it had still failed to fully kill her. Moreover, his Do Qi and soul power were near exhaustion. It seemed this battle was far more dangerous than he'd anticipated. I know you're not dead. Come out. Xiao forced himself to maintain a strong posture. I really underestimated you. I didn't expect the most ordinary one to be the most terrifying. As the shockwave from the explosion slowly dissipated, Serpent Scorpion Xue'er stepped forward, a mocking smile on her lips, but hidden beneath it was a boundless killing intent. The killing intent of a late-stage 8-star Do Xian powerhouse. Such a level was something that Xiao, as he was now, could never hope to resist. Little pest, leave your life here. As soon as her words fell, the 4 blood serpents remaining above Serpent in Xue'er's head let out shrill hisses. They twisted their seductive bodies, adopting an evil and demonic stance like blood demons as they lunged at Xiao. 4. Huh. Xiao looked at Serpent Scorpion Xue'er, who was charging at him like a madwoman, and sneered coldly. However, he made no move. Instead, his eyes slowly closed, and the eternal ruler in his hand glowed with a dazzling light, as though sensing something. Xiao, get back. Both the Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Gu Yuan felt beads of cold sweat trickle down their foreheads as they watched. Serpent Scorpion Xue'er's killing intent and attack power were far stronger now than before. Formless slash. Just as Serpent Scorpion Xue'er's red lips curled into a mocking smile, Xiao eyes suddenly snapped open, and a terrifying aura of complete silence spread from him. Then, he lightly swung the eternal ruler in his hand. What is this? Serpent Scorpion Xue'er, sensing an ominous aura from Xiao strange actions, immediately halted in midair. Her beautiful eyes scanned the surroundings warily. What kind of power is this? The Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Gu Yuan exchanged glances, muttering, crack. With a sound, an invisible wave of energy surged towards Serpent Scorpion Xue'er without any warning. Immediately, the 4 blood serpents remaining above her head writhed violently. In the blink of an eye, the remaining 3, without any summons, were completely annihilated. Before Serpent Scorpion Xue'er could react, a stream of crimson blood spurted from her enticing red lips. After losing 6 of her vital blood serpents and 3 life veins, she immediately fainted. Senior, capture her. At this moment, Xiao snorted coldly. It was clear that his power was nearing exhaustion. Where do you think you're going? Wind Prison. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor's sharp eyes gleamed. With a wave of his hand, dozens of green hurricanes surrounded Serpent Scorpion Xue'er, suppressing her completely. Phew, phew, phew. Looking at the Supreme Heavenly Emperor completing this task, Xiao let out a sigh of relief, the eternal ruler heavily falling to the ground. He slumped down and began breathing heavily. Not bad, kid. You've got guts. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor couldn't help but pat Xiao shoulder and laugh. If not for Xiao help this time, they likely would have been doomed. You're too kind, Senior. Xiao scratched his head and smiled. Now, the demon spawn in the ancient prison is becoming increasingly terrifying, and it holds the souls of countless powerful members of the Gu clan. If the extraterritorial evil clan succeeds here, our entire Gu clan could suffer irreparable damage or even be erased. A true evil demon could be born from here. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor's gaze darkened as he spoke. But there also seemed to be some evil figures at the heart of the Gu clan. That is the residence of the Gu clan members. I'm worried. Gu Yuan's eyes flickered with rare concern. Clearly, they were now caught in a dilemma. Senior, Why don't we head to the Holy Land first, find Xun'er, and then discuss our next steps? Xiao suggested, coming up with a plan. Good idea. The three of them immediately agreed, surprised by the simplicity yet effectiveness of the suggestion. But what about this one? The Supreme Heavenly Emperor looked at the severely wounded serpent scorpion Xue'er with concern. After all, she was a genuine late-stage 8-star Docian powerhouse. Even heavily injured, if she self-destructed, none of them would fare well. The 10 blood serpents above her head are her life veins. I've already slain 9 of them, so she should be unconscious for now. Let's seal her up and take her with us. After thinking for a moment, Xiao said, as one of the 3 giants of the ancient prison's evil shadows, Serpent Scorpion Xue'er was beyond their ability to kill with just the 3 of them. They couldn't let her go either, so this was their only choice. Perhaps they could also obtain some useful information from her. Since that's the case, let's go. After a pause, the jade key shimmered, and Serpent Scorpion Xue'er was tightly bound and sealed. Even if she wakes up, she wouldn't be a threat. Xun'er, I'm coming. Looking at the path leading to the Holy Land of the Gu clan, Xiao Yan's dry throat called out, and then he immediately charged forward. With that, the 3 of them, along with Serpent Scorpion Xue'er, made their way toward the Holy Land of the Gu clan. As for the so-called Lu Hao, he wasn't so fortunate. Creak. Without any obstruction, Xiao Yan and his group smoothly passed through the spatial passage and entered the Holy Land. Along the way, they discovered that many evil creatures were already eyeing the area around the Holy Land, scouting and attempting to enter. Fortunately, the strong aura of protection from the ancestors of the Gu clan, who had been resting there for generations, kept them safe. Is this really the Holy Land of the Gu clan? Gu Yuan and Xiao Yan had just arrived and couldn't help but speak up, particularly Gu Yuan and the Supreme Heavenly Emperor, whose bloodlines were stirring with a faint heat, as if an invisible pressure was emanating from the depths of their souls. It was clear that this was indeed the so-called Holy Land. This is the Holy Land, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor said, his previously worried expression slightly dimming. The vast Gu clan, with its high-ranking leaders and clan members, had been controlled one by the extraterritorial evil clan. The entire Gu realm and Gu prison had become the stronghold of this evil force. It was a great disgrace. Thankfully, the Gu clan's most important Holy Land had not fallen, offering some comfort in such a dire time. Such a strange Holy Land, Xiao Yan remarked with a frown, his gaze falling upon the barren land before him. Golden flames flickered faintly, and in the distance, there was an ancient aura that made him gasp in surprise. Looking around, the so-called Holy Land of the Gu clan appeared to be a vast, fertile land with towering mountains. The terrain sloped from high to low, with winding paths that were quite rugged. On the mountain paths, large, conspicuous coffins were scattered, creating an enigmatic scene. What is that? After a moment, Gu Yuan pointed to an ancient tree in front of him, his voice trembling with surprise. What's that? Xiao Yan and the Supreme Heavenly Emperor turned to look, only to see a massive golden cocoon, about several dozen meters in size, appear before their eyes. The golden cocoon was covered in countless mysterious, ancient golden patterns that formed a magnificent, dragon-like, swirling design. The cocoon radiated an aura so terrifying that it shocked all 3 of them. A golden cocoon? Could the rumors in the clan be true? Is the Golden Emperor's sky-burning flame really the precursor to the sacred flame? Only by mastering this flame could one possibly gain a faint chance of comprehending the sacred flame? Upon seeing this, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's face lit up with joy. Thud. Just as the 3 of them were preparing to take a closer look, the scene before them shattered with a bang, revealing it to be an illusion. I've sensed Xun'er's faint aura. Let's head to the mountain top. After a moment, Xiao Yan felt the faint tremor of Xun'er's soul force on the spirit jade and excitedly spoke. Shoo! Just as Xiao Yan and the others were about to move, the heavily injured serpent scorpion Xue'er stirred slightly, clearly on the verge of awakening. Then let's wait a bit longer. Xiao Yan paused his steps and quietly stayed by Xue'er's side. The matters regarding the Gu prison and the Gu clan must be thoroughly resolved. Given Xue'er's terrifying power and her high status, she likely knew many things. Cough, cough, cough. As her eyes opened, the lone blood serpent on her head trembled slightly, signaling how serious her injury was. "Where is this?" Xue'er muttered softly. The place gave off a peculiar, gentle aura that felt oddly intimidating to her. "How many troops do your extraterritorial evil clan have?" Xiao Yin crouched beside Xue'er, asking with interest. "Little bastard. If I fall into my sister's hands, I'll skin you alive and drink your blood, and you'll know true despair." Xue'er snarled at Xiao Yan's seemingly harmless face. Boom, boom, boom. No matter how much Xue'er raged, the 6 layers of seals around her continued to suppress her, showing no signs of her breaking free. If you don't want to die, tell me the truth. Otherwise." Xiao Yan's hand began to swirl with 5-colored flames. "I won't say a word even if you kill me," Xue'er sneered coldly. "Forget it. Let's go to the mountain top." After a brief interrogation, Xue'er's resolute silence led the 3 to shake their heads and move on. Is this the so-called Holy Land of the Gu clan? Now, aside from the territories of the vassal clans, all the strong members of the Gu clan are under our control. This place has completely turned into a hell. You are nothing more than pitiful ants witnessing hell's arrival. Once our king descends, the entire Doyun continent will be completely obliterated. Your good days are numbered. Enjoy what's left." Xue'er sneered ominously, her laugh carrying a hint of madness. Enough with the nonsense. At this moment, a surge of energy from the Supreme Heavenly Emperor struck Xue'er, inflicting serious wounds and causing blood to spill uncontrollably. Her breath grew faint again. "Is this?" Xiao Yin and Gu Yuan exchanged glances, unable to hide their shock. "This guy, he's really ruthless. Let's go." Now that the Gu clan is in danger, the coming challenge will undoubtedly be enormous. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor shook his head helplessly, then took a step forward, heading toward the mountaintop. Xiao Yin nodded, carrying the nearly lifeless serpent scorpion Xue'er, as he made his way toward the peak. Strange. It seems this towering mountain range has buried countless ancestors of the Gu clan. The closer we get to the top, the stronger the oppressive pressure becomes. By the time they had reached the middle of the mountain, Xiao Yin was already feeling immense pressure. Sweat kept forming on his forehead, and each step became unusually heavy, as though each one came at a great cost. This is the resting place of the Gu clan's ancestors. Anyone who wishes to reach the top will inevitably face significant trials, said the Supreme Heavenly Emperor, his steps as slow and steady as Xiao Yan's. He grit his teeth and continued forward, step by step. Rip. Suddenly, as if responding to Xiao Yan's suffering, the Xiao clan bloodline within him surged to life. He felt as powerful as a wild bull, his strength surging dramatically. A complex, mysterious light pattern began to glow at his forehead, growing more dazzling by the second. The Xiao clan mark. In fact, the power of the clan mark on Xiao Yan's forehead had already activated long ago. It was just that Xiao Yan had never noticed. The Xiao clan? The Supreme Heavenly Emperor stood still, his body rigid. A deep shock surged in his heart as memories of the Xiao clan flooded his mind like a spring. Kid, you're really lucky. Looking at Xiao Yan's frail figure in black, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor slowly followed. At the same time, at the top of the mountain, a golden, blazing sun radiated endless brilliance. Beneath it lay a golden cocoon, quietly lying there. The aura from within the cocoon was sacred and inviolable, yet it also carried a faint, ethereal aura, like a celestial maiden of the seas, her beauty and grace reflected in the golden cocoon. At this moment, everything was still. Even within the golden sun, a force beyond heaven and earth slowly poured into the cocoon. This force was the sacred flame, but it was also the cycle of reincarnation. Whom? The immense pressure made it difficult for Xiao Yin and the others to move. The stones beneath their feet trembled with every step, and every bit of progress was painfully slow. Despite only being 100 meters from the top, their movement was sluggish, like that of snails. Furthermore, the strange energies from the tombs scattered across the mountain seemed to resist them, as though the mountain itself was fighting against their progress. Xun'er's aura. It's getting closer. With the summit just 100 meters away, Xiaoyan's soul jade emitted a soft warmth, indicating they were very close to Xun'er's hiding place. Xiaoyan no longer cared about his body's injuries or the heavy pressure. He gritted his teeth and pushed forward, feeling only a sense of relief and guilt in his heart. It had been decades since the 5 emperors broke through, and in those years, Xiaoyan had focused on uncovering the secrets of the Xiao clan and strengthening his power, traveling across various places to improve. But Xun'er was the last one he found. This made Xiaoyan feel an immense sense of self-blame. Xiaoyan knew Xun'er's indifferent nature, but being in unfamiliar lands, he couldn't help but worry that she might be bullied without him by her side. At the peak of this sacred, towering mountain, mist obscured its true appearance, and no amount of soul or other powers could sense a thing. The golden cocoon could barely be seen, its traces enigmatic. You have nothing to feel guilty about. You've done well. Xun'er won't blame you. I remember she once said she didn't want to lose to anyone, because she also wants to walk with you to the peak and see the other side of the world. Gu Yuan, keenly sensing Xiaoyan's sorrow, placed a hand on his shoulder and smiled. He revealed the little secret Xun'er had hidden in her heart. Father, let's go together, Xiaoyan said, his body shaking with surprise. Hearing these words from Gu Yuan, he realized how much Xun'er, the innocent girl from the past, must have struggled over the years. But from now on, Xiaoyan would carry all of this on his shoulders. Boom! The massive sound of energy reverberated through the air, pushing Xiaoyan and the others back. It seemed as though some force was intentionally blocking their entry to the peak of the sacred land. This sacred land's restrictions are too powerful, and something at the top is making me uneasy, Xiaoyan said, biting his teeth and preparing to break through once more, but he was instantly repelled by an invisible energy ripple. He struggled to get up, finding himself at the mountain's halfway point, then spoke to the others. We can't get through, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Gu Yuan said, also being sent flying back. The 3 of them stood at the mountain's halfway point, murmuring to each other. Didn't that adult tell me that there is a sacred flame in the Holy Land? What's going on now? Looking at Xiaoyan and the others, a frown appeared on their faces. However, Xue'er, the serpent-scorpion girl, slowly gazed at the mist rising from the mountain peak, her voice filled with confusion. Boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, Xue'er's body suddenly trembled. A wave of fear originating deep within her soul erupted uncontrollably. Sacred flame? Ancestors of the Gu clan? 1,000 doubts filled Xue'er's mind. The Holy Land held something that even the leaders of the 3 great powers feared. And with her current injuries, she felt significantly weakened, her aura diminished. But the fluctuation just now was unmistakably the unique aura of the sacred flame. However, this power was far stronger than the sacred flame Xiaoyan wielded, by countless times. If she were to face it head-on in her current state, she would likely be annihilated instantly. Senior, is there any way to bypass these prohibitions and directly reach the mountaintop? After some conversation, Xiaoyan hurriedly asked. This was something beyond his ability, but the destination was right ahead, and giving up was never Xiaoyan's style. The soul force of the soul jade had already locked onto the mountaintop, and Xun'er was currently up there. Xiaoyan felt an overwhelming sense of urgency. I don't know. In the past, the Holy Land was peaceful, never as severe as it is now. These prohibitions were likely triggered by the Holy Land sensing the evil aura from the outside world. Relying on our strength to break them is simply impossible. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor shook his head, saying, the power of the Holy Land was so immense that even 8-star Do Xian powerhouses, let alone ordinary reincarnation experts, were powerless against it, much less the few of them. Furthermore, the coffins in these mountains are all filled with the remains of powerful fallen ancestors from the Gu clan, containing unparalleled power. Why have they all disappeared now? Gu Yuan's gaze flickered with doubt. Senior, what if I use the sacred flame's aura as a guide? Do you think that will work? After a moment of thought, Xiaoyan's eyes suddenly lit up. Combining the missing corpses and the sacred flame's presence, An idea flashed into his mind. Since there was a sacred flame in the Holy Land, using it as a guide might be enough to summon a response from all directions. That would solve everything. At this point, we have no choice but to give it a try. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor and Gu Yuan exchanged glances and agreed. Step back a bit, Xiao Yin said. Immediately, brilliant amber-colored flames began to rise around him. Boom, boom. As Xiao Yan's sacred flame ignited around him, the golden cocoon in the mountain horizon suddenly began to tremble. A series of golden light patterns shot out, like beams of pure light cutting through the night. After a brief moment, they spread in all directions like raindrops. This is the energy aura of the Gu clan's ancestors? Impossible? Could it be that this girl has gained the recognition of countless ancestors? But no one has ever? Looking at the golden raindrops scattering, a powerful wave of heat swept through, and the Supreme Heavenly Emperor could not help but exclaim. A solemn aura filled his heart. Boom, boom. At the same time, the flame mantra, sacred flame crystals, amber rock soul flames, and others within Xiao Yan's body trembled. A worshipful aura was released from them. Thud. In the sky, a golden sun slowly descended, like a divine palace. Its endless brilliance radiated supreme glory, illuminating the entire Holy Land like a magnificent temple. Golden sun, golden light, golden flames. And below these three, a faint silhouette of a beautiful girl sat, her aura light and ethereal. A golden sun mark with golden patterns flickered slightly in her forehead, exuding an aura of profound mystery. Swish, swish. Impossible. At that moment, Xue'er's eyes suddenly constricted, a deep fear rising from within her. A cold, deathly aura spread over her body, truly shaking her. Glurp. This is the Supreme Sacred Flame, ranked 8th on the Sacred Flame ranking. Xiao Yan's mind was filled with a rare dizziness and shock. The beautiful figure sitting peacefully before him was none other than Xun'er, the one he had been longing for. Xun'er. Looking at the figure in the sky, Xiao Yan was suddenly moved deeply. The mist in the sky slowly dissipated, and a blazing sun hung high above the mountain peak, releasing endless sacred energy and a scorching heat. Beneath the blazing sun, Xun'er's figure was slowly wrapped in a golden cocoon. Looking closely, the golden flames above the sun poured into Xun'er's body. A golden sun mark began to slowly etch itself on her forehead. A silver bell-like tremor rang out from the sky. Xun'er's seated figure was wrapped in flowing veils, exuding a beauty akin to a lotus rising from the water. Her skin, as white and smooth as lamb's fat jade, was enviable. Suddenly, the entire mountain range shook violently, and a tremendous force descended like the Milky Way falling to earth. A massive pressure filled everyone's hearts, causing a suffocating sensation to wash over them. This force was incredibly mysterious, as if it were the oldest power in the world. Any slight touch would likely result in instant annihilation, leaving no place for a burial. Ranked 8th on the Sacred Flame ranking, the 9 Mystical Vermilion Flame. After a deep breath, Xiao Yan spoke with a sense of relief. Since Xun'er was unharmed, he could now feel at ease. The 9 Mystical Vermilion Flame. How could this be? In contrast to Xiao Yan, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's eyes narrowed sharply, an incomparable sense of shock surging from his heart. The 9 Mystical Vermilion Flame is one of the 4 sacred flames from the beginning of chaos. It is comparable to the top 3 sacred flames. The 9 Mystical Flame Lord and the 9 Golden Crows are its true form. It is said that in ancient times, the first master of the 9 Mystical Vermilion Flame, the 9 Mystical Flame Lord, used his extraordinary talent, combined with the 9 Mystical Vermilion Flame, to successfully cultivate the 9 Golden Crows. His strength was unmatched by anyone. Even within the Reincarnation realm, he was considered a peak existence. Xiao Yan stared at the mighty sacred flame in the sky, his heart churning with waves of emotions. He had worked tirelessly, facing countless life and death situations, and had only obtained 5 sacred flames, ranked rather low. Even if he fused them now, they might only be on par with the 14th ranked sacred flame. Yet Xun'er, relying on the ancient clan's heritage, had directly obtained the 8th-ranked sacred flame? This made Xiao feel somewhat dissatisfied. Setting that aside, the Xiao clan's inherited sacred flames were somewhat inferior. Even with Mu Yingying, Yinji, and Su Shuiying, the Xiao clan's sacred flames were still far behind the Gu clan. What confused Xiao the most was that the Xiao clan was a giant in the Great Thousand Worlds. How could they be so much weaker than the Gu clan? Xiao, act now. Use your sacred flame to help Xun'er devour the golden crows. After a moment's pause, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor's shock transformed into a rare smile, and he shouted urgently. Understood. Xiao nodded slightly. It seemed that there was some special connection between the golden blazing sun and the golden patterns on Xun'er's forehead. Whom! Without hesitation, Xiao radiant amber rock soul flame instantly erupted. A figure wrapped in flames used the void to push off, charging towards the mountaintop. Clang! Even with the support of the sacred flame and the operation of the flame mantra, Xiao speed was still significantly suppressed. However, he managed to reach the mountaintop. Xun'er. Upon arriving at the peak, the overwhelming sacred flame's pressure and the terrifying temperature made Xiao expression shift slightly. Yet, he gritted his teeth and stepped forward towards Xun'er. Xiao had the distinct feeling that Xun'er had entered some special state, and it was likely connected to the blazing sun in the sky. Thud. A burst of golden flames scattered from the blazing sun, shooting straight at Xiao. In an instant, numerous visible wounds appeared on his body. Rip. Once again, the golden flames transformed into roaring golden crows, charging at Xiao. Despite his fierce resistance with the amber rock soul flame, it was ultimately wiped out and consumed. Without any protection, Xiao body was exposed to the air, enduring the deadly roasting of the 9 mystical vermilion flame. His body tightened, and blood-red rings appeared on his skin. However, Xiao paid no mind to it. His gaze was fixed only on Xun'er, who was just a hair's breadth away. Senior, Xiao sacred flame isn't enough to resist the 9 mystical vermilion flame. If this continues, he will die. Gu Yuan said with a tone full of concern, his eyes reddening as he looked at the sky. He didn't want anything to happen to either Xiao or Xun'er. After all, both were close to him. Don't worry. Since they are husband and wife, this is something they must do themselves. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor's eyes narrowed slightly, and he focused his gaze on the blazing sun above, speaking mysteriously. Whoosh! Countless golden crows attacked Xiao. Despite causing severe injuries, Xiao continued advancing fearlessly. With the power of the immortal flames within his body, he effortlessly reached Xun'er's side. Silly girl, you've worked hard. As he arrived beside the golden cocoon, Xiao looked at Xun'er, wrapped within it, her breath coming in waves. Do you remember when I told you that among the Gu clan, there was an elder who held the title in name only? After a pause, the Supreme Heavenly Emperor spoke. You're talking about that supreme being who single-handedly quelled the chaos of the ancient 7 clans? The first master of the 9 mystical vermilion flame. The master of the 9 mystical flames? At this moment, Gu Yuan's pupils suddenly constricted. A shock that could not be described surged through his body. It's nothing. I'm afraid this girl has already awakened the master of the 9 mystical flames. From here on, we can only rely on them. The Supreme Heavenly Emperor muttered, his fists clenched tightly. This is the reincarnation mark? In an instant, as the distance closed, Xiao heart began to race. When his gaze fell upon Xun'er's forehead, an indescribable sensation and a tingling numbness swept over his entire body. The reincarnation mark, 9 mystical vermilion flame, 9 golden crows. All things silent, the golden crows appear. The 9 mystical flames are born. Ancient, Vedic-like chants resonated, like the primordial overlord of a chaotic world at the dawn of time, slowly emerging. Boom! As the sacred chants surged, Xiao body was instantly sent flying several dozen meters. The sacred flame on him was completely absorbed by the blazing sun in the sky. In that moment, the 9 golden crows unfolded like a great rock spreading its wings across the heavens. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The strange screeching sound transcended the world, towering over all things. In the blink of an eye, the 9 golden crows shot toward Xu'er's forehead at an incredibly strange angle. Thud. With an unstoppable force, the 9 golden crows slowly merged into the center of Xu'er's forehead. A powerful surge of energy gradually emerged. It was the 9 colored golden patterns formed by the 9 golden crows. This was the legacy of the ancient supreme being, the master of the 9 mystical flames from the ancient times. Reincarnation? No one had expected that, while inheriting the sacred flame, Xun'er would also receive the reincarnation mark of the ancient superpower. This was something that completely stunned the 3 people present.